Hello. Welcome to the Lost Caravan RPG channel. My name is Matt. I am a guest GM this evening. I am so excited to play this game of Flabbergasted. But first, I want to give a big thanks to all the crew over at the Lost Caravan for allowing me to run this wonderful game for y'all. I'm so pumped. I'm so jazzed. But before we get underway, let's meet our cast, our wonderful players, y'all. I'm so excited. When I saw who I was gonna get to play with, I got so pumped. I was like jumping in the air. So let's get it going, y'all. We're gonna start things off with Nate with Alice on deck. But your name, your pronouns, your character name, or whatever, anything you have to promote, and then your character name, character pronouns, and a quick little blurb about them. Nate, why don't you take it away?
Hi everyone, my name is Nate. My pronouns are he, him. If you want to find me online, I'm primarily on Instagram at IndieNate, INDIENATE. Tonight I will be playing Alexander Atwood. They are the Bohemian, and as for the club, they are a costume designer, but also a stage manager. Looking forward to
Fantastic.
this.
Yes, thank you so much, Nate. Let's jump over to Alice with Lonnie on deck.
Hi guys, my name is Alice, they them pronouns. Um, you can find me pretty much everywhere online at Alice Hart or Hellion Hart. I'm sure we will plug everything that I'm in at the end of today. Um, but today I am playing Taffy St. Germain. She is a lady of affluence and status and does not want any of that. She just wants to kind of party, have fun, and in order to pursue that lifestyle, is currently acting as the producer and love interest and a few other things for this theater.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Alice. Let's jump over to Lonnie with Jim on deck.
All right. Hello, I am Lonnie or Looney Shaws. And tonight I'm going pronouns are she, her. And tonight I'm also going to be playing a bohemian named Vivian Baker. She is very much so the type that is a playwright who will write herself the perfect part so that she can also act in it. So be prepared for some emotions, y'all.
Let's
And I'm really
go.
excited to be here.
Thank you so much, Lonnie. Now let's jump over to Jim with myself on deck.
Good evening. I'm Jim. I use he, him pronouns. And I am Other Doc, OTHERDOC, in most places. Anywhere I'm not Other Doc, I'm Jim, yes, that Jim. And this evening, I am playing Wilkins, the help. Basically, he acts as a bartender, but then pretty much probably does a bunch of other odd jobs, which I'm sure we'll see as events unfold.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Jim. Oh my goodness. I'm so pumped, y'all. My name is Matt, he, him pronouns. I'll be the director, aka the GM of this session. And I look, y'all, I've already got a villain point. Let's go. Thank you so much, OMG Holly D. I appreciate it. Um, oh my goodness. Let's rock and roll, y'all. So uh as we jump in to this raucous, hilarious game of Flabbergasted, which of course is a comedic TTRPG, set in the 1920s ish time, without all the gross isms of that time, and now we zoom in to Peccadillo, this city that is nebulously in the eastern United States and also in the UK. I think of it as like the Springfield of this world, where it's a little bit of everywhere, bordering a little bit of everything. But we zoom in into to Peccadillo. Where exactly are we zooming? Where are we finding your character, Nate? Where is Alexander right now?
Alexander is most definitely at the club. Probably in the back of the house, not the front. Definitely trying to stitch up a costume malfunction that happened maybe the previous night or two. So just wearing like an impeccable suit, but has also got like, God, this is weird stuff to think about that I haven't thought about in years because I used to do this. Having like on their wrist, like having one of those like little like things where I'm putting all the sewing needles and thread and then picking it up and then like, okay, stitch this back up because this isn't stitched correctly or I screwed it up or blah, blah, blah. But then also to the right side, I 100% have a clipboard going over, okay, this is the exact time everything needs to hit its scene cue at, like its scene at, its mark at, working all of that out and just trying to stay calm, stay focused, and get everything prepared as best I can.
Fantastic. Okay, great. In that case, from Alexander, we'll pan over. Alice, where are we panning over to? Where is your character currently?
Taffy currently is flying down the streets of Peccadillo in someone's sports car. It's definitely on her own. No one trusts that woman with a key to save her life. But she might be late. She might be early. She doesn't even know if she's supposed to be there tonight or not. But has commandeered this vehicle for a very speedy jaunt around the city. They're probably like hitting curbs and in like that classic, like almost cartoon style, like two wheels probably go up in the air at one point, and like she's this like cute little lithe brunette with like wavy hair, and like her scarf is flying out in the breeze, and like comes to like this full stop in front of the club, like dirt flying, and like pulling out all of these like shopping bags as she like walks through the door.
Fantastic. Um, all right. In that case, we'll pan over to Lonnie. Where is your character currently?
So Vivian was originally at the club, but I think that she was working on making some last minute edits to the show for tonight. So going to be running in a few hours, and she's having a little bit of writer's block. So she thinks best when she's walking around. So she's just in the city, not too far away from the club at the moment, but she's just following anything that is the color light blue and just thinking, toiling over the show. And eventually she'll come back. What time? Can't say. But she will come back much more relaxed and inspired and ready for tonight.
Fantastic. Excellent. Now, from the city streets, we'll pan over. Jim, where is Wilkins right now? What is Wilkins doing?
I imagine whatever he was told, but if no one told him, then he is. Depends on if is the speakeasy open yet, or are we?
I'd say it's probably about 6:30-ish in the evening. So would it be open at this time?
Oh, we'd certainly be preparing if it's not open yet. I imagine. I imagine doors would open at about 7 when we would start, screening the guests, those with guest memberships, and then after that point, we start allowing in those who have those who show up who have the password. I think that's probably how things are going to go. So I am basically in the bar area, making sure everything is clean. Just sort of preparing, making sure all the taps are functional, and making certain that everything is here and present. I think we probably have one or more entertainers are meant to make appearances this evening as part of the as part of our downstairs entertainment to supplement the upstairs entertainment. So I'm occasionally going back to the phone and confirming those to make certain that they will arrive on time.
Fantastic. Okay, so I did also get a -1 to the next hero roll, which is incredible. So we're gonna start things off here. Since I do have a villain point, I will make use of that immediately. Vivian, as you're wandering the streets, trying to break through that writer's block, you are going to hear a small voice from the distance that calls out, um, Vivian, and this is an elderly voice, and you would recognize immediately that this is old Mrs. Harriet Harrington. She was someone. She's like a mainstay in the area. She owns the Harrington, one of the oldest and most prominent theaters in the area. But as she's calling out to you, you do notice that there seems to be someone that's following her. Someone who has their face mostly covered. They've got a hat on. They're kind of looking down. But you would note that based on the way they're moving, they seem like they're kind of shadowing her, and perhaps they might have their eyes on the handbag that is at her side.
I think Vivian would respond to the original call, yes, and turn around. And once she kind of clocks this, I think she's going to start approaching Harriet and say, "Oh, Harriet, I'm so glad to see you. I was just following the color light blue and I seem to have lost track of anything of that shade." And I'll kind of grab her arm and kind of like pat her hand as I lead her away. Supposedly, unless they follow us still.
Okay. Would you mind rocking a little bravado and persuasion for me real quick, just to see
Sure.
how this this bolstering act, what kind of effect this has. And I will, one more thing. Would you minus one of the dice from your pool?
What if I already rolled and no.
It's
Am I echoing?
Oh,
I did hear an echo.
I did hear an echo as well.
It is well.
Okay. Seems like it's fixed.
It sounds like it's fixed.
Cool. Okay. I already rolled, so I will
it's okay.
take one die out and roll again because right now
Oh.
I would want to take the 6 very clearly that I rolled, and that
fair.
would be a little biased.
appreciate that.
Oh, I got a 3 and a 2.
A 3 and a 2.
Mhm.
So even with this act, it seems as though the person with the covered face lurking in the shadows is still following and edging ever closer at this moment. As Harriet has she's put like an arm around yours. She is quite elderly, and so she is like a bit of her weight is being used to support herself on your arm.
Okay. I'll continue to be like a kind of sturdy. I'll even like offer my hand for her to hold as well. Just anything that kind of makes her more stable. And I say a little bit louder, it seems that your friend over there is a little too close for comfort. Are you familiar with this person? I'm not used to you hanging out with such a crowd.
And she is gonna turn and say, "Well, friend? What friend?" And she's gonna start to turn, and the figure with the covered face is going to jump out at both of you and say, "Give me that bag!"
No, I don't think she will. And I don't know what I'm gonna do. I want to do something final, but I can't run with an older lady.
What would you like to try to do?
I am going to try and say, "Oh, trust me, you don't want that bag. It's not gonna give you what you think you're going for. Here." And she takes off one of her rings that she wears a lot of them on her hands. They're all costume jewelry, but she likes to think that they look very realistic because they're usually on the stage. And she's going to offer one of her rings instead and say, "Trust me, you don't want what's in that bag. I bet that this is much more expensive."
Okay, okay. In this case, I'll allow you either culture and etiquette or wit and sharp. Up to you.
My
'Cause I feel
number, my lowest and my second lowest.
oh,
Got it. Um, I'll roll 2 for wit and sharp
okay,
and
sounds
see what that'll
good.
get me. Unless
Oh, scene cues? Perhaps?
if I have to do one already,
Hey, you can
um,
you can decide after you make your roll.
okay, I do have one that I could use if this does
Okay,
not go well.
sounds
Oh,
good.
I rolled a 5 and a 6.
Okay, great. So this shadowy figure uh takes hold of that ring. And like you can see just a little glint in the eye as he's eyeing it in the street light. And then he says, "Thanks, lady," and then runs off into the night. And Harriet is gonna say, "Oh, I I'm so sorry. Um,
Why are you
was that
apologizing, dear?
did you give him your wedding ring? That's
Oh,
that's
we
worth a
have plenty
lot."
of that in the store. Don't you worry. He doesn't seem to know what he's really looking at with rings.
Oh, I see.
Not to worry at all.
Clever.
Don't you apologize. Where were you headed?
I was headed to find you. You and your friends.
Did you know I was out and about?
I didn't.
Oh,
I'm just on the way to your collab.
maybe this was the what I was following after all. Maybe that's why I lost the color. Um, and she'll start kind of walking back towards the club and say, "So tell me, what were you hoping to talk about? Or is that something
Well,
you want to wait for the entire group?"
I don't want to spoil a surprise.
I
So
would never want to make you.
is what she is gonna do. She will regale you with tales, tales you've probably heard multiple times before. The ones that she loves telling the most about, like, getting the theater, about her favorite shows, and eventually you will return to. And can I, um, do we have a club name?
I like the one Alice came up with in chat. I have a slogan for it because I like the slogan I came up with.
Oh, snap. Alice, what was the name you came up with?
God, let me check.
Wasn't it pro/inhibition?
Yeah,
That sounds
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, I loved that.
phenomenal. What was the slogan?
Subtle nod to actual theater with this. I'll drink to that.
Yes, let's go.
Any chance to sort of reference Sondheim, I'm all for it.
Fantastic. Okay. Okay, great. So, as you return to the pro slash inhibitions, we, uh, well, Harriet will call out, and though she is getting on in years, she isn't moving as quickly as she normally would. Every now and then she can belt out, and she will call out, uh, "Alexander, Taffy, Wilkins, I need your help. And she's gonna turn to Vivian and give you a little wink and say, I've fallen and I can't get up. Only you three can save me.
I would like to materialize behind her.
Oh, Wilkins!
May I assist you, ma'am?
Oh, yes, yes. Ooh,
Of course.
ooh.
Are you
You're
quite
just
all
about-
right?
Oh, you just about gave me a heart attack.
Oh, my
Oh,
apologies. Apologies. Might I help you untangle yourself from your scarf?
oh, yes, please. Thank you. Thank you.
Starts doing that. I have soothing touch if she's actually injured, but
Oh, she's not.
I didn't think so.
You'll see that I was very close by to her, almost as if she had a guiding hand up until a few seconds ago.
Yes.
Ah.
I walk in not running at all after hearing that because I'm just like, yes, I'm on my way, but I'm also looking at this clipboard and I still have sewing needles embedded in like the little thing I have around me just to keep stuff going. And then I'm like, oh, hi. Also, and I immediately look at you, Vivian, and I notice I would say because my flaw is persnickety, I notice you have a ring missing, and I'm like, we're gonna talk about that later because I need to know what happened.
I just received a wink from Harriet, and then I'll kind of like continue the mischief by winking back in that overly dramatic like way.
You just hear like Taffy come back from off stage. Wilkins, sounds like an old lady fell. Oh, never mind, she's fine. Oh, you're here.
Indeed, Miss Saint-Germain, we seem to have it in hand.
Yes.
Good job.
Yes. I need your help. And I feel like, and I'll say that Harriet Harrington has been in the theater game long enough where he might have been encouraging to y'all in the arts when you first got in, or perhaps attends the bar here and there, and tips very well to Wilkins. And she will say, you might be the only ones I can trust with this. Since you have such a thriving a thriving theater. Well, I'll get right to it. And Harriet, she has permed white hair, which is like a little pleasant cloud underneath a dark green hat with purple flowers. She stands about 5'2". She's wearing a dark green dress with poofy shoulders, a little purple vest, a cinched waist with a purple waistband. And she's got she's got black shoes with a little buckle. And she says, my theater has been struggling as of late, and I don't know what to do. I've heard there were odd noises, accidents that happen. I suspect that it might be haunted. If you could get to the bottom of this, I would greatly appreciate it.
Just out of curiosity, do we know how long she's owned the same theater?
Oh, it's been decades. Like
And
she
it
has.
just recently started becoming haunted?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Love a haunted theater.
Love a haunted theater, but very interesting of the theater has not been haunted the whole time. That's new.
Yeah.
True. The main reason I'd like you to investigate is because I'm getting on in years, and well, I have scheduled to have an appraiser looking at the building, at the business, and in the event that I decide to sell the place, it would be nice to be able to retire with a little bit of luxury.
Ma'am, you do
Seems
realize that's
totally
not
valid.
the spirits that we deal in, right?
Oh,
Not
well,
usually, ma'am.
but I'm so old and I don't know where else to turn.
Oh, we're more than happy to help. What's
Thank
more,
you.
have we decided if the Phantom of the Opera was written before the 1920s? Because
I mean, the original book should have been.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
the original book was 1800s, I believe, if I recall right.
Okay.
Mhm.
I
Remember.
I want it to be like, as the great, as the great story of Phantom of the Opera tells, the best theaters are the ones that tend to have a little bit of ghostly troubles.
Ah, I like that. I don't think the appraiser will agree, but we'll see.
Well, the appraiser is a fool, but we will help you before the appraiser can even make that decision.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Miss Harriet, someone with such impeccable fashion taste, and I like up and down look at them, just like I'm so proud of what I'm looking at because just impeccable. It's like obviously I'm ready to help you at any time you need. Let's make it happen. Let's make
Oh.
it work.
Thank you. I am forever in your debt. Um,
Now, what does it seem like we're dealing with? Like, what kind of noises? Is it a poltergeist?
I'm not 100% sure, but my staff has been reporting all sorts of things. If you wouldn't mind accompanying me over to the Harrington, I'll introduce you, and they can fill you in on the deets.
Oh, yes, we can go for our second stroll of the evening.
Yes. And as you're about to head out, the doors will swing open, and three people are going to fall onto the ground. And these three people are each they're as the three of them fall, they kind of look up guiltily at y'all and say, "Yes, and we'll do it." And of course, this is the your closest rivals, the improv squad that performs across the street, your favorites. And of course, each of them, they after they've fallen over, they very comedically like roll off and then jump up. And oh, am I hearing myself echo a little bit? My bad.
I think it fixed itself.
Okay,
It
great.
solved itself. Yeah.
Okay. We have ghosts in the machine, y'all. It is actually haunted.
We have ghosts everywhere.
Are we breaking the fourth wall already?
Oh my
Not just the ghosts in the
goodness.
game, it's the ghosts in the game itself. I
But
think I just said in the
these
game.
these three will as they stand at attention, the first one is going to take out those green visors that you might wear at a poker table, and he says,
Mhm.
"I am improviser." And of course, this is Improv Rob. And then the one in the middle, she is gonna take out a pair of vice grips and say, "I am Improv Vicer." And of course, this is Improv Rachel. And finally, we have one that takes out a newspaper and flips to a certain page, and then is like, "Wait, did I get the wrong? Oh, here we go." And then finds the exact section where there's a newspaper advice column, and says, "I am the Improv Advisor." Of course, this is Improv Todd, and these are the improvisers. And the three of them, well, they all seem like they want in on the action. And Improv Rob is gonna say, "Hey, y'all, how about a little friendly competition? We're gonna try to solve this before you do."
do you see how many people are falling at your feet to help you figure out the mystery of your theater, Harriet?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out the mystery of their names. Rob, can you explain what's supposed to be funny about your names?
Well, if you shorten it, if you say it quickly, it's like improv Rob, improv, you know, and then Todd is gonna say, if you shorten it, you just improv. It's kind of there, and then Rachel is just gonna sigh and say, I don't know.
Is it bad that as soon as they walked in the door, my first instinct was Huey, Dewey, and Louie? I don't know why. That was just the first thing in my head, and I think
I
I want to
love
call them
that.
that now because I'm not going to remember those names.
Great.
I'm immediately
Improv.
looking at them and being like, no, you need to hem these pants, guys. Like, these are too long, it's touching the ground, and I'm immediately starting to put pins in their pants to fix things because I don't find it pleasant.
Oh, let me help you. And the person that you're
No,
working
no,
on,
I got it. I'm all good.
they
let me do my own work.
They start to grab like phantom scissors and phantom pins and stuff to assist. It's all improv props.
And then when I see that, I'm like, okay, I'm backing up. I walk away. It's like, I'm just gonna cut to the chase on that one and leave.
Great. Wilkins, did you have something?
Anything. I'm sorry, are you here performing or are you visiting?
We are going to help. Yeah.
Quite, but that would imply then you wish to see that you're here as guests of Miss Harrington. Is that correct?
We are now, right? And Mrs. Harrington is gonna she's gonna look over at them, and you'll all four of you will see just a little exasperation on her face, and she says, "All right."
Well, then you see, guests are received through the outer archway. You have to come in through that way, and then you must be presented. And then at that point, we can begin our dialogue.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll do that. And then
Excellent.
they exit.
Excellent. Right this way. Close the doors quietly behind them. I'll turn around. Shall we go, sir? He'll say to. He'll say
Bravo,
to
Wilkins. Bravo. Always perfect.
Excellent. So, at the moment, y'all have delayed the improvisers, as Harriet Harrington will lead you to the Harrington. And even from a distance, you would see the history behind it. It is a tall, brown structure. From the outside, you would see two stories, and there is a box office that juts out from the front left of the structure. You would note that there are people getting tickets for a show. There are some people that are queued up. Oh my gosh, Jim, fantastic. Let's go. And as y'all are walking the streets, of course you also would note that there are posters. On the left jutting out, there's the box office. On the right jutting out on the corner, there are posters. Which Hoop, if you wouldn't mind showing that on the stream, I am also going to send it in our Discord. The three productions that are currently being shown. We have David Blaine. Now You See Me. Now You Don't, because I'm on a plane. We have the infamous show Geese, as well as the hilarious show known as The Producers. And currently, it is Saturday evening. So the people lined up would be lining up to see David playing. And as Harriet Harrington walks up, you would see someone from inside the box office jump up and then run out. And they come out the front doors. They almost run into the person that would be checking tickets when the people are allowed to be seated. But this young man, about 19 years old, wearing a set of overalls, khaki shorts, and a tie, he runs up and he immediately extends an arm out to Mrs. Harrington and says, "Hi, my name is Ernest. Mrs. Harrington told me you'd be coming." And Harriet is gonna like say, "Oh, hush. I wasn't sure if they were going to come." And Ernest is like, "Oh, right. I'm sorry. I was told to help in any way. I'll get you in. I've got some wristbands for the four of you. And maybe I if you have any questions, I can help, so Mrs. Harrington can get a little bit of rest." So, at this point, oh, go ahead, Wilkins.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, as if we're going along with this, I'll sort of collect the wristbands and make sure everyone gets them on and everything, so they're on properly.
Fantastic. He's also going to take out a little sheet for each of you, which, Hoop, if you wouldn't mind sharing onto the screen, please. This is a map of the theater for y'all. There's the main floor, there's the upstairs, and there's the basement area. But Ernest is gonna say, I'm gonna get Mrs. Harrington down to the basement, so I can get some tea made for her. But yeah, I'll be back up. You can, with the wristbands, you can feel free to go where you want, talk with whoever you want. They all know you're coming, and so yeah, we appreciate your help.
Fantastic, Ernest. Thank you. And then she kind of just starts walking in a direction.
Great. Excellent. Now, oh, Alice?
No, I was trying to hold in a cough.
Oh, okay. My bad. Okay, so then in that case, y'all, at this point, you have a map. There are a number of people that you could interact with. Just let me know if there's anyone in particular, whether it be the talent or someone more behind the scenes, whether it be in concessions or even a fellow stage manager or the director. And also, y'all can feel free to split the party as well, because I'm not going to be, throwing the four of you into a combat here.
The backstage is where we fight the dragon, right?
Right. You will have a little bit of time before the show will begin, and then you can decide what you want to do during the show. Of course, this is David Plain's evening, where he will be performing a magic act, and we'll go from there. So, does anyone have some place they'd like to go, someone they would like to talk to first?
Harriet had said that somebody had gotten hurt. Did she not?
Yes. Yes, she did.
Okay. Did she happen to say, like, was there any way I could have potentially found that out from her of who got hurt?
Yes, absolutely. I'd say, like, perhaps in the course of the conversation, she would have mentioned that it was the stage manager that had gotten hurt. Nothing lethal by any means, but a little wooziness, a little dizziness, perhaps a precarious fall.
Turn to Alexander and say, would you like to deal with your fellow counterpart, or would you like me to go and ask of the happenstances of the evening?
I can go talk to them. I'll make sure they're okay and check in and see what info I can get.
Stage manager and stage managers have that good connection.
Or an intense rivalry.
True.
Yes. Yes.
Vivian is unaware. If that is the case, she is unaware. I don't think she knows the ins and outs of stage manager drama. She's just like, oh, you must get along because you just have the same things that you're into.
Excellent. Where would everyone else like to go?
I feel like Taffy is still confused on this concept.
Fair.
Wilkins, are you sure that we weren't just hired to pretend to be ghost hunters or exorcists or whatever? But if so, I would like to be the young priest.
The realities of the situation are unclear as of yet, Mom, but Miss Harrington did appear to be rather concerned in a manner that might suggest something outside the realm of fiction. We may wish to treat this as a true investigation until proven otherwise, perhaps?
How does one investigate a ghost, though?
Well, my understanding is that one should inquire with someone who has a certain amount of lore regarding the building in question, or or its happenings. As it happens, I would like to use a scene cue. I'm going to say that I have either an acquaintance or a cousin who works here.
Okay.
I have the whims and fancies scene cue. Basically, where I'm used to fulfilling unreasonable requests on a whim. So no matter the time or place, I can just know where to find what you need. You can get to create an NPC you need at that moment and place them in the city.
Excellent. Oh my goodness. Okay. So in this case, is there like a certain person you have in mind, or would you like me to just come up with one?
You may feel free to conjure away, as that's as far as I got.
All right. So, well, with your whims and fancies, fulfilling unusual requests, you do know someone who works here, someone who tends to do some level of janitorial duties here, and this is your good friend Digby, and Digby. I imagine that, like, as you're looking through inside, you meet eyes with him, and he's gonna squint for a minute, and then he's gonna look at the people around you in like a are they cool kind of look.
So I'm going to give I have an important question. Is Digby close enough to actually know my name? to know my first name?
Would you like him to know your name?
It might be amusing if he did.
Oh, okay.
So
Great.
If we go way back, basically, then he might actually know my first name.
Fantastic.
Which is on the sheet, or I can send it to you if you would like. I
got it.
You got it. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I will give him the sort of the nod that is the slow nod of that kind of indicates the sort of servant language, the slow nod that indicates I am working for them, but they're okay.
Okay. In that case, Digby is he's got a little mop, but he's going to put that over to the side and then walk past the people queuing up. And he's gonna do a little stretch and say, "So, how are things?"
Oh well, you know, they actually can any of them hear me, or have I taken him into are any of the others with us while this is happening? I just need to know so I'll know how to behave.
I've gone on the direction of going right to the stage manager, so I am out of view. The minute Vivian brought that up, I immediately knew somehow where to go immediately. Maybe I've been here before.
Happy is where you left her because she assumes you'll be coming back with the answer.
Okay.
You will probably vaguely see Vivian standing on stage trying to put herself in the place of the actresses that would be there to see if she can really feel the sense of the ghost in the... If it's affecting the theater, then maybe I'll be able to feel it if I really absorb being in the theater. So you see her like standing on stage, kind of just like trying to focus, trying to get into a character. You don't know which character she's choosing today. Maybe she's trying to be David Blaine. She's like, okay, what would he do right now?
Nice.
And so I think my response to him is that they're quite they're quite good, much better much better than the last. Though I will say, and he just sort of glances over and sort of sees Vivian on the stage, looks back. The depths of wonders that one finds in these professions never ceases.
Right. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
But I did rather have an inquiry I'd like to make if you have a moment.
Right. Anything for you?
All right, and he'll actually go ahead, and it's one of those things where is the half of him that cannot be seen by anyone else, the body language becomes a little more familiar and friendly, whereas the other half that's facing outside, that's facing the where anyone else can see, just stays like stiff as a board. And so he kind of claps Digby on the shoulder quietly and says, "Thanks, man. We seem to have Miss Harrington appears to be of the opinion that there is a haunting going on in this theater. Do you have any insight on that?"
Well, I did hear what sounded like screaming during the last producer's performance.
Unscheduled screaming, I would assume.
Right, yeah. Although, now that you think about it, I think that there was a scream that I'd heard around 7:45 during the Geese performance too.
And these were these performances? Forgive me, I've yet to be able to fully familiarize myself with the schedule. Was Geese performance at the same on the same evening as the producer's performance, or different evenings?
So, Geese and producers, they're on Thursdays and Fridays respectively. Their shows start at 7:00. David Plains is the one old man out.
Yes, he would be.
Yeah.
And no screaming during no screaming during his act yet, I would assume.
No, outside of when he saw someone in F, but
Ah, yes,
that's expected
yes.
screaming.
And that old chestnut, yes, the approved screaming.
Yeah.
So, I would. So I'd rather wonder. During the produces also, is that roughly the same time? Do you think about 7:45?
I
Or
think
was
so.
it a different time? Ah,
Yeah, I mean, it does take it does take them a little bit longer to get started, but I think it was around the same time.
fascinating. Might you have any insight as to from what direction or what area the scream might have been emanating?
Oh, it seemed to fill the old auditorium.
Ah, of course. The downside of the excellent acoustics of this place, I would imagine.
Right, yeah.
It could have originated from any point. However, and sort of look. Actually, well, this is actually something that my character doesn't know quite as well. But it's sort of looking and trying to be. But having worked in the theater for a while, he might understand something about how theater acoustics work.
Mm-hmm.
So as to be a thing, but honestly, names. Though honestly, Alexander's probably more the expert on this. But we're sort of gauging. It's like, does the way the theater, sort of glancing back, the way the ceilings and the way it sort of stuff looks, does it look like one of those things where it's a sort of is it a standard sort of presentation? It's not like in the round or
proscenium.
or thrust.
Right, it's
got a
fairly
proscenium.
standard. Yeah.
Proscenium standard. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, so it probably, the idea is you're supposed to be able to hear if they're on the stage. So it just sort of depends. Okay.
Right.
So, I'll say, interesting. But perhaps that might have originated somewhere from backstage, though, I suppose. But I guess we'll have to find out. Any other thoughts about this whole thing? My dear chap?
Well, I will say this, and I'll add on that this will be a part of the fact that you used a scene cue. For everyone who's unfamiliar with Flabbergasted, the power of the scene cue is essentially giving you an automatic success here. And so, in addition to the information you got, he's going to give you an extra little thing where he's going to say, well, this haunting business seems to happen. It seemed to start just a few weeks ago. I feel like I would have heard if someone died around here.
Quite. Yeah, I would imagine. Usually you're the first to know if anything happens around here.
Yeah, sometimes the very first.
Indeed. Right. Well, we shall see. Thank you very much. Thanks very much, Digby. I very much appreciate it. I'll see you at the Servants Club later.
Yeah, of course. See you there.
Indeed. And I'll just sort of turn around and rejoin with anyone he runs into.
Taffy?
Yes.
So
we figured it out then, Wilkins.
Well, we've made a bit of progress, ma'am. It would appear that that is a degree of unscheduled screaming had occurred during performances on Thursday and Friday evenings. That would be the Geese and the last producer's performance. Both times at about 7:45 in the evening. And so we suspect it is that the scream that went out would have been audible throughout the house. Perhaps it might have originated somewhere backstage, but again, I'm not the expert on that. as to where it might have the noise might have originally emanated from. But it does seem that there have been no sudden deaths or any other things to report, as far as the staff are aware.
That does not explain the ghost at all.
Not entirely, no. It merely gives us perhaps some idea as to roughly where it might be appearing, and perhaps if it appears again tonight, when.
Making a very specific joke. I mean, do they know if it's a person that's screaming, if it's like a recorded screaming, or?
That has not yet been determined, I'm afraid. But my understanding it sounded like a human voice. At least that's thus far what we've been able to intuit.
I mean, do they have any more backstage crew that we could potentially talk to if it was heard from off stage?
Certainly, Matt. And he'll just sort of just sort of gesture toward the backstage if you want.
Yeah. Would you like to go find someone who works backstage?
Lead
I'm
the way.
already-
Would you care
nowadays,
to go
so
backstage? Would you care to come backstage and find someone who works there?
I mean, if you don't feel like bringing them up here.
Oh well. Well, I do imagine they are rather, given the timing. He says, pulling out his pocket watch. I do imagine they are rather, they are rather engrossed at the moment. So it might not be entirely possible to have them out one by one. As
Well,
there is,
better than in
production.
Geest.
Fair enough. Yes. Yes. That's Thursdays.
Then go ahead and lead the way, Wilkins.
Very good, Mom. And Wilkins will turn and start leading Miss Saint-Germain to the back.
Okay, great. So, I have a question for you. Are you going to be taking the direct path past concessions, past the seats, up to the stage, to the back, or would you like to take the little roundabout along the side through the green room area? You would have access either way. It's up to you.
Me personally, I feel like I feel like if Vivian is still up on the stage, I figure that she's got that kind of zone covered, and so my inclination, if it's acceptable, would be to go around through the back.
Are you on board, Taffy?
She told him to lead the way.
Okay.
She's probably also handed him her map.
Right.
No, of course.
Awesome. So, in this case, I have a question for Alexander. When you went to look for the stage manager, where did you go to look for the stage manager?
So I'm of two minds. I either looked at the map, or I think the more fun thing is, as the director, you get to tell me which direction I went in, and that's where I went.
Okay.
Because in
All
my
right.
head, I feel like I'd be like, every theater, no matter what, is probably laid out the same, but that doesn't mean I know where I'm going.
Fair. Okay, why don't you roll a d6 for me?
I got a 1.
All right, great. So in that case, you went straight past the seats, and like perhaps it's up to you. Maybe a hop onto the stage. There are stairs on the left and right side to head up to the stage, but but you would have headed back there before Vivian got there, and well, you do note that amidst the people that are getting things ready, there does seem to be someone who is a little bit more in charge, who seems to be directing people a little bit more. He has a cast on his leg. He is wearing gold rimmed glasses, and he seemed to be kind of barking orders. And when he sees you, he says, "Well, I don't think I hired anyone else. What's going on?"
Hi, I'm here on behalf of Harriet, trying to help. Apparently something with ghosts.
Oh.
Then I point at their cast, like, I heard that you got injured. I wanted to check in and get your story on that, if that's all right. I understand, looking at the chaos backstage, like, you're trying to get things ready, so I apologize for being in your way, but
Yes.
it'd be great to get some info out of you if you don't mind.
Yes, of course. And you will note that when he does look at you with an air of respect. And he has dirty blonde hair. He is wearing, oddly enough, what he's wearing seems more like that of a star than someone backstage. He is dressed in a tux and he has white gloves on. And he says, "Yeah, dreadful business, that haunting stuff. We've been hearing screams. I thought I saw a broccoli come at me."
I give the most raised eyebrow of looks. It's like, I'm sorry. Can you repeat that? I thought I heard you say a piece of broccoli.
Broccoli, not a piece. A broccoli that was as maybe 6-7 feet tall. I was cleaning things up back here, making sure everything's in its place, because I mean, Digby has no idea where things go. So I was making sure that all the props were in their proper place. I had to double check everything, and then I saw, and this was late after a show, most people had left. I saw broccoli. Red eyes. It was a little misty.
Huh. That is, to be honest, that is not at all what I expected to hear.
I know.
It sounds like he's been watching the producers too often.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. Okay, so a large broccoli, trying to say that out loud, and it's like there's a dramatic pause between both words, because it's just like brain cannot process that at all in the moment. So it's like you see the gears turning in Alexander's head for a second. You're just like, okay then. But okay, so wait, just a large. This is a weird sentence. Just a large piece of produce, nothing spectral in form. Just.
I mean, a
broccoli?
6 to 7 foot tall broccoli was pretty terrifying. Maybe. I mean, I initially thought it would have been Dean, because he likes to play jokes. But it was Geese Night, so I was wondering, like, why would he be here that late?
It's fair. Did anything happen after the show in terms of anything ghost related? I know this is more above table, but like I know usually when I would work on shows at night, or like we would end for the night, the last thing that happens is you always turn on the ghost light, which is always because theater is superstitious as heck, but like turn the ghost light on for the ghosts in the theater because, respect the theater space. Right on at the end of the night, is there anything that happened after the show that was a little heebie-jeebie, spooky, anything like that?
Would you roll a little bravado and persuasion for me?
Sure. Love to. But, 3 dice. I love that. Not a single success.
Oh, and he says, I don't know. I've been a little a little out of it. I mean, I'm on some medication for, and he'll gesture towards the leg. So you might be able to ask some of the rest of the staff.
Okay. Did you note? I don't want to take up too much of your time because I know how much you need to get done right now, and I apologize for taking up as much as I have. Outside of a large hedge of broccoli that was spectral in form, was there any other oddities that occurred in the past day or two? And I say this while also looking them up and down and being very perplexed why, as a stage manager, they're wearing a tux, as you outlined.
He's gonna say, David Plain has been kind of weird lately, but he's pretty weird normally, but he's extra weird now. I would keep an eye out for that guy.
In what ways weirder?
And he's about to say something, but I mean, with 0 successes, I'm still in the realm of like he's like, you'll find out. You'll find out.
That's fine. I'll go. What do you know where I could possibly find them?
I wish I could tell you, but he's really good at disappearing.
Checks out. Understandable. Thank you for your time. Nice tux. Interesting choice. And then goes away from backstage.
My name's Harold, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Alexander.
I know who you are. And like some people are gonna be whispering and you're gonna overhear him say, that's Alexander the Great, you know. A legend. A legend. I want to ask you, where would you be heading next before I jump over to Vivian?
I feel like, let me see on the map, because we're in the Harrington Theater. I feel like I would try to go to the green room, because I feel like that makes the most sense.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Alexander heading to the green room. Okay, I'll jump over to Vivian real quick. Vivian, on stage, trying out different roles. And then you're going to hear a voice from behind you say, "You want to see some magic?"
She's gonna turn around and faint. Oh! That's not exactly the next line I had in my head. You're supposed to say, "And you were the killer."
Oh, and you were the killer?
Didn't work. What was it you said, though?
Do you want to see some magic?
Not really. I was trying to do something here, and now I'm afraid I might have lost it. Sure. Let's see if maybe. I think tonight was supposed to be a magic show of some kind. I guess maybe that will get the creative juices back.
And in front of you, he will start to do a little card trick. And standing before you is an older gentleman with short black hair. He does have a black mustache that trails down into a gray beard. His eyes look disturbingly bright teal. He is wearing a black suit, a black vest, white button-up shirt, black gloves. And of course, in front of you is none other than David Plain. now.
I just want to say very quickly that I am very sad about how long it took me to realize who he was. Like, who he's supposed to be. I was like, that sounds so familiar. Is this like a real person? Like, I knew all of the other ones were plays on other things, and I was just like, David Blaine. He's on a plane. You can't see him because he's on a plane. Like, what do you mean? David Blaine. Okay.
Love you, Lonnie.
Amazing.
He's gonna take out the wrong card though, and say, "Is this your card?
Ooh, so close.
Check
No.
your pocket."
She's not wearing pockets. She's wearing a skirt, so she kind of like pats her skirt and will like kind of pretend to look for a pocket that she knows isn't there.
Oh, I did not plan for that. It's probably in your pocket at home.
Yes, I will surely get back to you if I find it the next time I look through all of my pockets.
Yes, and tell me if it's your card.
Of course.
What are you doing here?
Well, it seems as if there are some peculiar happenstances occurring here. I guess I could ask you also what you're doing here.
I'm getting ready for my show.
Oh, so this is perfect. So then I can actually really fully picturize what would be happening on the stage so I can really figure out what
Yes.
might occur. Do you have a better trick?
I can see the future sometimes.
Well, fantastic. What's gonna happen tonight?
I'm gonna do my show.
Fascinating.
Ta-da!
Anything? Okay.
Perfection, no notes.
I don't even know how to respond to that.
I will tell you this. At this point, it hits about 7:45-ish, and you will hear a shrill scream that seems to emanate from multiple directions at once inside the auditorium, and it echoes through the theater.
Oh, perfect. You being here did actually help me picture what would be happening. And then she goes and runs in the direction that she thought she heard it first.
No, I
Which you
think it
can
was
decide
over
what that-
there. Wait, it's over there now.
Whichever one, like, instinctively, like, the second she hears a scream, I think she's, like, already, like, has her head in motion as she's saying, like, oh my goodness, wow. So that first one, whatever, like, just, like, one track mind officially switched. There could be, like, 7 other screams, and she's like, that one.
Perfect. Okay. So, what I would like you to do, in this case, I would allow either, actually, okay, creativity and passion or wit and sharp.
Creativity and passion, because I am very creative and passionate.
Excellent.
Apparently not, because I rolled a 1, 2, 3, and a 4.
Oh snap! Yeah, you're having a hard time like pinpointing as far as where's the scream went, and David Plain is not helping. Where he's like trying
Is he
to help.
following me?
Yes, he is following you,
Great.
and in a very silent, like as you're walking over here, you suddenly see him in your periphery here. You walk over here, you see him in your periphery there. But after a moment of you like searching, you'll hear just off in the distance that he's suddenly next to some audience members, and you hear, "Do you want to see some magic?"
Well, now that I have successfully been funhouse mirrored by this guy. Just he's here, he's here, he's here. I don't know where he is. I think I want to use one of my scene cues.
Okay.
If I've lost the trail, I would like to recenter by using my wanderer trait. So
okay.
basically just, well, I've lost it. Okay, where am I going to go next? And
Right.
just follow the direction that my heart and soul take me.
Great. So, your heart and soul takes you towards the back. There are some people that are like coming in. The people are like getting seated and everything, but you're being taken back to the back of the house, next to the doors, and I am going to share a little picture in our Discord of a phonograph. And of course, seeing this, I'd say that perhaps you're no stranger to this sort of device. Again, more details because you used a scene cue in that phonographs, you typically use them to play an audio, but you could also use them to record an audio. In which case, and this is a slightly newer model by this time period, in which the sound is captured and then recorded onto a disc.
Okay. I want to approach it and try to play the disc. Is there a disc currently on there?
There is a disc currently on there.
I would like to try to play it back and see what was playing.
Okay. I will say this. When you go to, rewind it, it has only been going for about 15 minutes or so. And so when you play it back, you hear your warm-ups. And then you would hear, "Do you want to see some magic?" And your conversation play back.
You'll hear her do like the frustrated person like dealing with like kind of like the older lady dealing with technology, like, "Oh, I already know this part," and just kind of trying to like speed it up a little bit. I had already seen his magic trick around the time that the scream happened. So yes. I'll kind of like try to see if I can get a little bit past that so I don't have to hear him tell me to check my pockets again.
Great. Okay. So, when you get there, you'd be able to kind of get an idea of where the scream would originate, and I will tell you what you find in one moment, because someone is going to walk through the doors, and you'll find that out after I go over to Taffy. Taffy, you being led by Wilkins over towards the back. Now, y'all are looking for someone else who works behind the scenes.
Yes.
Okay. You would see a like as you're getting back there, before you get to the green room, you would see a feminine figure wearing a black turtleneck. She has her hair kind of swooped to the side. It's a little bit shorter, brown hair. She's also wearing black pants, black shoes. And she sees you two and says, may I? Oh, you're here about the haunting. And she looks down at you're having looked down at your wristbands. And she'll say, I'm the director for Geese and for the producers.
Well, there's ghosts, I guess.
Oh, yes. it's a shame. If things don't go well, I think the theater might close down.
Well, I mean, there's always another theater in town. Haven't you heard of us?
Oh, are you hiring?
She just kind of looks the director up and down. Well, I think we might be good on directors, but we definitely need some behind the stage help. And you look dressed appropriately for that. They do all wear black back there, right, Wilkins?
That is my understanding.
Perfect.
And you know just a little bit of like irritation on her face as you mention her having to do like just regular backstage work. And she says, "No, I think I'd rather stay here. Perhaps someone might come in and purchase the place if Mrs. Harrington sells it."
I mean, worst case scenario, I guess we can't always franchise.
Sure. But I would insist on being a director because I can't do that again.
Oh no. Did something happen?
Well, I just want the shows to go perfectly. I want them to be of a high caliber. And I thought that by being a director that I might be able to accomplish that, but Mrs. Harrington has very, very specific desires for her shows.
Oh no. Does that mean your shows are going bad outside of the ghost?
Would you roll a bravado and persuasion or wit and sharp for me?
Gonna be a bravado or persuasion, but I at least have 3 in that.
Great.
Mostly because I forgot to add my other ones earlier.
Oh.
Yeah, so 1, a 2, and a 5.
Okay, a 5 is a success. Let's go. So she's gonna say, well, when I started directing the producers, I wanted a very specific vision. And unfortunately, the star, Dean, he improvises too much. I can't control that. He just does what he wants to on the stage. But Mrs. Harrington doesn't like the comedy that's on the lines. She loves the improv from him. She thinks that's the only redeeming factor of the show. I want to know what to expect, not some drivel that he brought up after talking to the audience.
We've been having trouble with improvers too. Annoying.
Right.
I can
Yes.
I feel your pain.
Thank you.
So is this just is like you said, Dean? Is this happening during his shows too? This ghosty thing?
Yes. Yes, it's happening during his shows as well, and he rolls with it. I wanted him to ignore it, but for some reason, he thinks that it's good to respond to the ghost. The screams of the ghost. And it gets a laugh. That positive reinforcement is why we're in this sort of pickle.
Of course. So when that goes on, do you like hear where it's coming from, or is he like stepping on a cue or something?
Well, I thought it was just an audience member doing it. And so one day I decided to peek out from backstage, and everyone seems surprised. Unless we have a ventriloquist somewhere, I don't think it's any of them.
Well, I mean, y'all are hiring a surprise improv artist. Who knows what else you're keeping back there?
Well, if Mrs. Harrington is insistent on introducing new acts that I have no control over, then I'm glad she'll lose the theater.
Oh, is it something besides Daniel Dean? What's his name?
Dean Wilder? No, if she's got a ventriloquist in the wings, she deserves to see her business fail.
Okay.
Now, with this impassioned outburst from the director, I'm gonna cut back over. Right before we get to the break, I'm gonna cut back over to Vivian, because after checking the phonograph, after tracing perhaps where you might be going, you hear a worried voice next to you, and it's Ernest, and he says, I'm sorry to trouble you. Thank you for helping to check, but
Is everything okay with Harriet?
no, she's fine, but she might not be, and he points, and you see a gentleman that is seated at in the front row, who has a journal, a ledger out, and seems to have been scribbling for a while. And he says, Ernest says, "The appraiser, I thought he was coming next week. He's here. If we can't solve it tonight, then I don't know what to
was
do."
right behind me. I thought I was about to die.
The ghost of valuations.
Yeah.
It's much worse than
No one
that.
expects
That's
to-
terrifying.
No one ever
Absolutely
expects an
terrifying.
appraiser.
But
When he started pointing, I was just like, oh my god.
on that bombshell, Boop, we're gonna go into a little 10-minute break. So y'all have been absolutely wonderful. My cast, y'all have been a delight to play with. We will be back in about 10 minutes, so we'll see you soon. Bye.
Just up in the captions.
Yes.
Lovely.
Welcome, everyone.
Welcome back to the Lost Caravan RPG. I am your GM, aka director, this evening, Matt. And oh my goodness, we have a mystery. A potential haunted theater? Who knows? But our group is gonna get to the bottom of it. Now, when last we left off, of course, we had Wilkins and Taffy, who were talking with the director, who had some ominous words to say about perhaps relishing if Mrs. Harrington lost the theater because of her sensibilities. The director seems to want a high standard that Mrs. Harrington just isn't on board with. Of course, we did discover that not only are we dealing with the haunting situation, but the appraiser has shown up earlier than we thought, as Vivian discovered. As Vivian, of course, having investigated the phonograph and looking towards perhaps where the sound of the screams had emanated from. And Alexander heading towards the green room after having met a fellow stage manager, perhaps a fan of sorts, who was accosted by an evil broccoli. We return to Wilkins. Wilkins, what would you like to do? Where would you like to go?
No. I think that if Miss Taffy is finished with her conversation, then I'll just sort of turn and sort of ask, should we continue to backstage, Miss Centerman?
And Taffy's still talking to like the director for a second.
Oh, okay.
It just, God, you sound so stressed, honey. Now, if you come back to our theater, just like knock on the back door a few times and give the password to Mr. Wilkins here, we can help out with a little bit of that stress relief. Or maybe not. Depends on the day.
All right. I'll give it a shot. Thank you.
I'm sorry, were you saying something, Wilkins?
Oh, no. I just was wondering if you, if we finished here, if you wanted to continue backstage.
I'm gonna take it this wasn't backstage then.
Yeah. Where were we? We were like almost to backstage, weren't we?
Almost to the green room, which would lead into the backstage, but she was like kind of intercepted you on the way.
Taffy doesn't know what counts as backstage. This could be backstage to her.
It could be. So we just a bit further was to go there. I believe we were to go there via the green room.
Okay.
Excellent. And I'll just sort of nod to the director, and then just start heading basically via the green to the green room. And the idea of I'm just looking around. Basically, I'm just trying to see if there are things we can figure out.
Okay, so when you go to the green room, you would note that there are a couple of people that are just sitting here, lounging, eating food. There's a feminine figure and a masculine figure. Both of them are kind of dressed basically in pajamas, very relaxing clothes. And when they see you two come in, they the feminine figure will call out, and she has blonde hair in a ponytail, and she'll say, "Hey, free food if you want it."
Okay. Wilkins, would you make me a plate?
Oh, of course. And so he'll just immediately. So he's preparing to head out, and he's like, "Of course." And he'll turn, and he'll just basically heading back to where the free food is, and knowing, and just based on because this comes first. So knowing Miss Sanderman's dietary requirements, he's going to very carefully. He's going to take out a plate and just look to see which items look like they'll be safe. Lay them out very carefully, and he'll take he'll from and just basically from somewhere he'll have conjured like a little decorative umbrella to put near it somewhere, and set the napkins out. There'll be if one implement of some kind, perhaps plastic, hopefully that he'll have gotten from somewhere for the purpose of stabbing it, whatever thing. Because I assume this is sort of backstage food, so I assume they're like like little sort of cocktail stuff, canapes, things of that nature, I'm guessing. Yeah. So he'll strategically place the toothpicks in a way to sort of decoratively look like they absolutely belong. So after he arranges the plate carefully, he will then turn and but he will immediately, of course, pull out his impossibly clean handkerchief and clean off one of the seats for her, and then The handkerchief vanishes, and he sort of gestured toward the seat, where perhaps there's a little table or something nearby, and he will set the food down for her.
Ooh, umbrella.
I'm gonna give you a lucky coin for that incredible description. Oh my gosh, Jim. Now, with that attention to detail, both you and Taffy are going to note that like there's just like a look, there's like a smile on the feminine figure's face, and she kind of looks to the masculine figure and says, "Remember when you used to do that for me?" And he's gonna be like, "When did I ever do that?" But she just kind of like laughs and just kind of nudges him, just kind of playfully. But she'll say, I'm sorry, look, this food was supposed to be for David, but he never eats here. So, we figured why let it go to waste, right?"
Oh. Mr. If I may inquire, he'll sort of say to them, has anyone ever seen Mr. Plain eat?
Off stage, no.
So he eats only performatively.
Yes. All sorts of things that you wouldn't normally eat, but somehow he deals with it.
Yeah. I fear I am not familiar with Mr. Plain's act. Could you perhaps provide some examples of the sort of things he consumes whilst on stage?
So, he has this incredible trick where he'll take some sugar and put it in his mouth. And then he'll drink some water. And then he'll spit the sugar out, but it's dry. He'll do this with like pool balls. Billiards, you might say.
Indeed.
But yeah, we normally just see him do that whenever there's catering. He refuses.
Sounds like a very bad magic show if all he's doing is just spitting stuff out on stage.
Hey, it's pretty wild. I mean, I guess it follows the rules. You make it disappear and you bring it back.
I've seen plenty of people do that with more impressive things.
Yeah.
And just sort of thinking back. Did we hear the scream tonight? Has the scream happened tonight for us?
It happened, and I would say that Vivian would have heard it very clearly, and Alexander probably would have heard the faint echoes of it, as he was heading in this direction as well.
Okay. So we all heard something, basically.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. Might I inquire? Is the how long has the nightly screaming at 7:45 been happening? If you recall,
It started a few weeks ago. As soon as it started, I thought maybe it'd be good to push our show back, but David was so insistent that 8 o'clock was his start time, as if we were on the same day even.
And the other shows start a bit earlier. Is that
7
from what
o'clock?
I surmised? Yes, 7 o'clock. Yes.
Yeah.
Interesting. Has Mr. Plain's activities been spotted at all around the time that the screaming happens? Has he been seen? while the scream? Has he reacted to it? Has he opinions on it? I should say that you've heard.
Well, during our shows, he's usually not here. He's here on his shows, but when the scream happens, it's like he expects it to happen.
Right. 15 minutes prior to the curtain going up for him. Indeed.
Yeah.
Interesting. But what about the first time? Was he expecting it the first time? Do you know?
I'm not sure, to be honest. Can you
Of course.
hang on? And I have a special request for you, Jim. Would you roll a little
I
wit and
shall.
sharp for me?
I shall. I'll be happy to roll a little wit and sharp for you.
Because
Go ahead. I have a stat of 4.
Oh, nice. Okay, great.
That's my major one. Do I need to take a die off or anything for? I know there was like a -1 die thing that happened, but I think someone rolled before me. So we might
That's already gone, I think.
Okay.
We have a plus one.
We have a +1, so if you would like to use it, you can add an additional die onto this.
Do we feel as though this is important enough for me to take that, or do we want to?
Go for it.
I feel like this is if folks are
Let's
It's
go.
the next roll.
I have no
I-
issue with it. Go ahead.
I relish rolling 5 dice. Here we go. Okay. I have
What you got?
I have a 4, 2 5s, and 2 6s.
Dang. Okay. Look, with so many successes, as you're talking about this, as you're making that leap, what the masculine figure is gonna, and you know what, if you don't mind, let me give you their names real quick.
Oh,
Of
sure.
course, we have Johnson Tavola, and we have Olive and John. Just so I don't have to use so many syllables to describe them. But Johnson Tavola is going to take out a photograph. And he's gonna say one of the people backstage caught this during the performance. Well, during I should say during a rehearsal, because we have a number of actors of all ages who perform, and they took a picture, just hoping it'd be a candid picture, and I'm gonna share this to the Discord real quick. And Hoop, if you wouldn't mind showing this on the stream, you see this sepia tone photograph, and you see that there are quite a few people who are kind of waiting in the wings, and Johnson Tavola is gonna point and say, "You see, there's a face right there, staring the small child in the middle in the eyes. And if that's not a ghost, what is it?"
Huh. I see it. Curious. He's and he'll seeing Miss Saint Germain looking. He'll also he'll just for glancing, making sure it's okay to hand it over. He'll hand the photo to her as well, so she can see it. And
I mean, it doesn't look like any of the stage hands, y'all know, because we have a lot of people staring off sometimes.
No.
doesn't look blue eyes. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
But can I be honest with you though? And Olive is gonna say, I we kind of want the show to end. Like, if there isn't a lot of business, it would be nice to not perform in Geese anymore. Because we're performers. We want to perform, and this was the only show that cast us. Mrs. Harrington, she was just so kind. She wanted us immediately, and we thought the goose gimmick would help us become famous. I mean, it worked for that one actor, right? And then Johnson is going to say, yeah, Brian Gosling. Yeah, it worked out perfectly for him. He's going to say, yeah, but it's not really helped us get out there. And we have to belt so much harder to get our words out during the performances, so...
It's fair. Well, I fear in some careers one is forced to remain an untitled goose actor. But might I borrow this for a few moments?
Yeah, by all means.
I will turn to Miss Saint-Germain, and I will say, "Ma'am, I believe I've noticed something." Jim has noticed something. I don't know if Wilkins has, but I'm going to assume Wilkins is catching on.
Mm-hmm.
Where were the posters? Are they back out front, or are they?
Yeah, they're back out front.
Yeah. So, if I can do this quickly, I'm not going to make Miss Saint-Germain run.
Oh no! If you need to leave, Wilkins, I'm fine right here.
And like, yes, if you give me just a moment. And if Wilkins sees any of the people he knows on the way, he will sort of invite them, with a gesture. But otherwise, he will try to quickly run back out front and compare the image, the face on the photo, with the face on the poster.
And those the
back outside
faces,
briefly, so I've got that.
Yeah, the faces look strikingly similar. And on that note, I'll come back to you when we go round. Alexander, as as Wilkins runs out of the room, you've made your way past a few of the stagehands back there, and you are beginning to descend a set of steps down into the green room as well.
Yeah. I was just thinking about that. I feel like I would probably look in and then, just see Taffy just already there. So I'm like, oh, good. Someone's already thought what I was going to do. Excellent. And actually, I would probably, if you're okay with this, Matt, I would actually double back and then actually go back to where I was lingering backstage and kind of just take a second to look up, and if I notice anything on the catwalks that might look out of place.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, because I just feel like I would be that person who's like, okay, if they've got downstairs taken care of, I'm going to go back up and make sure everything up top is actually okay, because I just have this weird feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And also, if you're okay with it, at the same time, I would love to use a scene cue, a different perspective. You have a creative way of looking at the world. When concocting a plan, the director will offer up some unique approaches you might want to consider or point out an interesting and overlooked detail.
Okay, great. So, in this case, as you consider up above, you are going to note that, of course, there's like the lighting setup up on the catwalk, but you are going to note that there is a disc that, like, just at the right angle, you'd see just a little bit of a gleam. A disc about yay big, perhaps one that might fit in a phonograph, that is kind of off to the side, in a corner on the catwalk.
If I can find a way up to the catwalk, I would definitely go inspect that.
You could go up there from backstage. There is, and you'll walk past Harold again, and he'll just kind of like do a smile and a wave, and again, like whisper, yeah, I told you I knew him. But you can go up the steps to the catwalk and retrieve said disc. And I will also add, you will see Vivian down below. As well as Ernest looking terrified. But you do have a disc in your hands now. And Vivian seems to be standing next to a phonograph.
I was just going to ask if the disc is something that looks like it could be played on the photograph. Okay.
Yes.
I immediately go right to where Vivian is. Watching every step, because going up to a catwalk is sometimes not an easy thing in theater. Whether it's a set of stairs or an actual ladder you're climbing. And then I would walk up to you, Vivian, holding a disc, and then looking at the photograph like, mind if we listen to something that I just found?
Oh, you go quite on ahead. I will say though, and she'll kind of hush her voice a little bit, it does appear that the scariest thing that could possibly happen is already currently happening. The appraiser is here early.
Nothing more scarier than financials.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
And Ernest here is very concerned.
Yeah.
So hopefully that she'll turn to Ernest. Hopefully this phonograph will give us some answers. We can
Hopefully,
tell the appraiser everything's fine, go away.
One can only hope. Hope for the best. Hopefully don't expect the worst. Starts putting it in the photograph.
Great. So, this is gonna be a little bit of a melding of your two turns in a way, because I did promise you, Lonnie, that Vivian, through listening to the phonograph, was able to pinpoint the directions. And as a matter of fact, when you do look, you would note that there are certain areas in the floor where there are vents. They'd be like air vents. And those air vents, you can kind of hear, there's just a little bit of an unsettling sound coming from them. Almost like a fan that is a little wobbly.
Okay.
Now, I said melding of the turns. Alexander, before you play the phonograph, and perhaps as you're like scrubbing through, you note Vivian looking at those vents. And since you used that scene cue earlier, you would have noted that there aren't any vents up above or anything like that. There aren't any vents. It's like whatever would be downstairs would be coming, like the air would be blasting in here, but there's no like outlet or anything.
I would definitely call that out to you, Vivian. Be like, I don't see any of these up above. And I was just on the catwalk and I didn't see any of them on the ceiling or anywhere else.
Fantastic. I was actually about to ask you, you know more about the whole behind the scenes setup. Do you think that could be why it sounded like the scream was coming from many different places? Those vents.
Excellent deduction. I agree. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Possibly, by all means.
I was simply going to ask if you could potentially show me where the vents go to after we listen to the
Sure.
photograph and see if there's anything down there that might be of interest.
Sounds like an excellent plan. Yes, let's listen to this first, and then we will get down there as quick as possible and figure this out. I put the disc in the phonograph and give a listen.
So, you like scrub through listening for anything weird. Of course, you do pick up the scream, but amidst the performance of Geese, you hear the sound of someone say, "Boo," and it's like kind of echoey, "Boo."
There was never a ghost, just critics.
Now I'm thinking the exact opposite. Before I thought the appraiser was the ghost, and now I'm thinking the ghost is just somebody in the audience being a jerk. Boo!
And what I'm thinking is, even ghosts are critics.
I will add additionally that, like, once you hear that, you do notice like there's like this odd distortion to it. But listening to the rest of the audio, especially with Vivian here, who heard like what fresh recording sounds like, this doesn't sound like it doesn't sound like a recording that happened in person there. It sounded like you were trying to record from another source. It's not as crisp.
Audio is not as clear on this. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say I would put mine back on so we could hear the comparison, like kind of run right after the other. So, yeah, you can go ahead. Sorry.
Do.
No, by all means, it's better than what I was gonna say.
I mean, you could make a deduction as we're hearing that.
Oh no, I was just saying, yeah, basically you're in like mid swipe and I'm just not looking while you're doing that. And I'm like, that wasn't as clear sounding as it was. And then yours starts playing and it's like, oh, that's much clearer sounding. What did you, never mind. Touche.
Is it that this one wouldn't sound the same? I mean, somebody couldn't make a recording of a recording. That's preposterous. Who has two phonographs right next to each other? Sorry.
When you say that, both of you would note that Ernest has kind of like slinked away a little bit. He's maybe a good 15 feet away from you.
I should probably look at him and say,
no, you go ahead. You
go ahead. No, yours is better. Go ahead. Trust me.
I was gonna say now, Ernest. I will say, as somebody who's an actor, that looks very suspicious.
And as someone who works behind the scenes, I'm like, why are you walking away?
So
Ernest, we're both trying to help you save the theater. If you have any information, it would be very helpful.
why don't you roll me either a bravado and persuasion or a creativity and passion?
Always gonna go with creativity and passion.
Okay.
Let's be honest here.
All right.
Oh my god, that's 3 2s and a 1. I'm changing dice.
Any seeing cues?
Cycle them out.
So, I could potentially use something, unless, do you have anything better?
By all means, you go ahead.
Mine's kind of iffy.
Do it.
I'm looking right now, so go ahead if you want, and then I'll see what I can have. I can back up with.
So, there's actually 2 that I could choose from, and one of them would make him feel bad, and one of them would make him feel good, and I think I don't want to be a jerk to the child.
He is 19, so
He might be a murderer.
If I want to be a jerk, have a scene cue called Existential Crisis, where I can basically start questioning things in the world around me, to the point where it will make him question things in the world around him, because he's just listening to me ranting so much that he's just like, I don't even know what I believe anymore at this point. And I don't know if I want to use that on a 19-year-old because that 19-year-olds already do that.
I was gonna say, what 19-year-old hasn't had an existential crisis yet? This is your gift.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Actually, I mean, the opposite of that I could do, if it makes sense, is I have good taste. You offer your aesthetic perspective, whether it was asked for or not. Your advice is invaluable in making something infinitely more appealing. Also love how that's plus dignity.
Either we parent him,
or I mansplain him, which I already hate.
Critique this kid's cargo shorts.
Well, okay, so the third option that would be
I can easily
being
do that.
nice would be kindred spirits and trying to find that common ground of, we both believe in the theater and all this sort of stuff, and then he will be willing to do whatever he wants to help me in a time of need, which would be right now because he's hiding something and I need that response. So what's the
Yours makes
vibe?
more sense than mine, as I don't want to mansplain. Reads like that.
But am I going existential crisis or am I going kindred spirits?
That is entirely up to you.
Yeah.
I would just I think Alexander would look at you and say, I trust you. You know what to do. You know what's best. You have a way with words. You are a wordsmith. I had a very silly idea about being able to use the existential crisis on the appraiser to get him to question his entire life and never ever try to shut down a theater ever again. So instead, I'm gonna be nice to the kid right now because I would love to use all of that existential crisis goodness on the one guy.
Great.
So I will use kindred spirit. So basically, I quickly form a deep connection with any like-minded artists and performers. I know, you know that if you ever are in need, your fellow artist will come to your aid without a second thought. So I will basically kind of appeal to the soft side that I saw of him earlier, taking care of Harriet, and just, I know you care about Harriet, and let me say that I do too, and there's nothing that you could have done right now in this exact moment that will get you in trouble if you were to tell us what it was, so we can use it to assist our mutual friend in saving this entire theater. And I don't believe that you would be the one to hide such a thing. That seems like such a good plot twist to the story.
Yeah, and he's gonna gesture for both of you to come closer, into like the corner. And he'll say, so, I noticed you noticing the vents. Those happen at the same time every night, because when I heard that there might be a ghost, I thought, hey, if it is haunted, if it were clearer, maybe that would drum up more business for Mrs. Harrington. And so I found out when the vents were installed that if your noise was loud enough downstairs, that it would travel. And so I told Mrs. Harrington to make her tea at about 7:40 every night. And so when it would boil, it would go through the vents.
Oh, you little scene maker in the making. Oh no. Stage manager in the making, not scene maker. I don't want to say scene maker in the making.
Audio designer.
Excellent use of acoustics.
Yeah, I just wanted to enhance the haunting experience so that people would come, but it had the opposite effect. People heard it was haunted and a lot of people aren't showing up anymore.
Now, here's a thought. if you noticed that it wasn't helping, then perhaps maybe don't continue to add it into the night.
But it helps her sleep now. I chose passion flower and licorice root, and when she drank it, it helped soothe her, and she slept really well.
Any way to avoid the tea kettle making the sound? Maybe you could take it off of the stove the moment before and just be watching it a little bit closer.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that. I'm sorry.
It's okay. You did what you could for the theater. And and she'll kind of like look over at Alexander and say, you do have you have a stage manager present that did just happen to like your work of acoustics, which is a very great start at the age of 19.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Please don't tell her. It'll break her heart if she knew that I was helping perpetuate. When I saw the photograph, I thought we could work with this, and it just didn't work out.
Well,
A for effort. But maybe not. I don't want to say anything negative to this kid because I'd feel awful.
What,
I can
mister?
see the idea. I can see the execution was performed perfectly. Just let's scale it back a bit and not make it where everyone's afraid to come here and you're not able to do business. Yes.
we make sure that there's a new show coming out soon that's meant to be a haunting drama. And you make sure that you do that exact thing and make people really spooked, but in a moment where they know they're safe.
Okay. Yeah,
It's a great garner of the environment around everybody.
I'll make my fake
agree.
ghost, so maybe the real ghost will come out and play.
Right. So about that, now that we have a lot of mixed reports and extra screams that are not meant to be screams of the ghost haunting somebody or hurting somebody, what actually has the ghost definitely done that you have not been involved in?
Well, one thing that I noticed is that for the last few weeks, every now and then Harold will let me help clean up, but I feel like I see things. I feel like it feels weird, and it works in David's show, but you don't really want to feel weird when you want to laugh.
Is a bad stage set. Absolutely. So where do you usually feel weird?
In here, backstage, honestly, sometimes in the basement too. Before I make the tea, I always feel like there's someone watching me. And I'm gonna put a pin in this and jump over to Taffy.
Who has just been talking to these two goose actors in the meantime, waiting for Wilkins to get back because she doesn't have a map. But I would use this time to use a scene cue called I Heard a Rumor, because she's probably just started gossiping with these two about everything going on in the theater. So the director will impart a piece on you a piece of gossip. If it is true or relevant to your situation, you will have to find out for yourself.
Ooh. Okay, yeah, I could do that. So, as far as a piece of gossip is concerned, Johnson Tavola is gonna lean in and say, I heard that Mr. Williams, Harold Williams, was saving up money to try to buy the place.
Am I supposed to know who Mr. Williams is?
He's the stage manager.
Oh, you're Alexander.
Yeah, exactly. You know about Alexander too? Oh my gosh. I dream of being able to afford one of his outfits.
I mean, let me tell you, if this theater does shut down, we have our own, and he's dealing with costumes right now. He could afford probably a little bit more money spent on them, but
Okay. Yeah, that'd be great. But that's what I heard. So,
well, it's good for all of the workers to try and be good little entrepreneurs.
and at this point, if you don't mind, since Taffy is waiting,
Yeah.
I'll do a little melding of the turns. Yeah, Wilkins, you made it out. You saw the resemblance. You made it back in.
Okay.
You're able to join back up with Taffy.
So looking back around as I'm just coming in, I will I'll sort of want just politely wait. I will wait for a break in the conversation so that I can show Taffy what I'm talking about.
Oh, Wilkins, did you hear their Alexander's trying to buy the theater?
There, Alexander.
Yeah.
Interesting. Their equivalent stage manager.
That what that position's called? Okay.
I have noticed something, if I may, ma'am. And he's just going to hold the. He's going to. Time has passed at this point. Is Plain out doing his act right now?
Yeah, I would say he, like, at this point, the show has started.
Okay. Can we see the stage from? Well, probably not. It's the green room. We can't really see the stage from in here, can we?
You could take a few steps up and look from backstage.
Yeah. It's not a big deal, but I'm going to say. I believe I figured out where I saw this face before. It seems nigh identical to the face of Mr. Plain on the poster outside. And just sort of do that thing where just sort of by way of illustration, take a couple of steps, and anyone who is sort of looking or craning their neck out, if they can see the face on the thing, they'll and they can see Plain on stage, and just sort of.
Yeah, I'd say, like, perhaps sensing an audience, like, David Plain is gonna turn and, like, smile at you exactly like how he looks on the poster.
Ah.
Yes, they do look similar.
Yeah. So, I'm just merely going to narrow my eyes and nod in his direction, acknowledging him, and I'm at the edge almost of a scene cue here, but I don't think I need to use it necessarily, because of depending on how this goes. But you sort of say, he's looking back here. I just sort of come back and just sort of nod, and I will turn back and just sort of, because I presume he's going to keep doing his act. I don't think he's, unless he continues to stare at us for whatever reason.
He would stare for a moment, and then you would hear as he turns back to the audience, and he says,
"Screw it, I'm going to do it. Because I've got 3 of them. Unflappable.
Okay.
I'm going to stare back."
All right.
I cannot be intimidated. That also increases dignity. So
great. And in the stare, like, for a moment. Like, he's about to talk again, and then he turns back to you, and he gives you a little bit of a nod. Like a nod of recognition, a nod of respect, because David Blaine is usually the one who stares. And so, staring into the eyes of a fellow starer, you
Yes.
see respect in his eyes.
Excellent.
And like you've got the photograph in your hand,
No.
and I
Yeah.
will tell you a little extra detail since you used a scene cue. He doesn't seem in any way like there's no reaction. It's just like,
Yeah.
oh, I've seen that photograph before. It's not like a no worry
Yeah.
or anything like that.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to have any attachment. There's no particular attachment to like, oh, they know that I'm in the photograph or anything like that. It's just
Right. Mm-hmm.
okay. Interesting. Okay. And having had that moment, then I'll turn back around and sort of say to Mr. Saint Germain, it is possible he might be unaware of the ruse. They may simply be whoever took the initial picture, utilized it, mapped it in here. And he'll turn to the actors in here. Do you by any chance have any idea who it was that took this photograph?
Why don't you give me a little bravado and persuasion?
Ah. Okay. I only have 2 of those dice, but I'll do my best.
Taffy, if you would like to assist in some way.
See if I need to.
Okay.
All right. I'm sorry. I got 2 6s.
Nice.
See, no
Okay.
need.
Great. So Johnson is gonna say, "Oh, that's one of the stagehands. I mean, he's practically at the side of Harold all the time. So Harold always wants plenty of good shots of the rehearsals to make sure that he can pinpoint exactly when people are having indiscretions with the props or with the costumes. Young man is practically a spy.
And Harold Williams, is it? And he'll just sort of turn again, looking significantly at Miss Saint Germain, the one with overtures, from what I understand, of purchasing the theater.
That's what I heard, anyways. You're asking me?
Sort of nods. Oh, well, it would appear that perhaps the Mr. Williams might have a hand then in the situation, or taking advantage of it, perhaps, to push things in a direction that might, I fear, allow him to perhaps make it easier for him to make purchase of the theater. This is but a theory, though. I'm afraid I would not dare slander the gentleman, as this is uncertain. But
I mean, are y'all happy?
the evidence
with the
is
theater?
pointing in that direction for me.
Were you asking if we were happy with the theater?
Yeah, I mean, it does seem to be a lot of people are really upset with it right now.
Yeah, I'm happy with the theater because this is a chance that no one else gave us. I I just don't want to break Mrs. Harrington's heart saying we don't want to perform geese anymore. You can only sing Summer Flappin' so many times. I am not having a blast anymore. So, here, I'll put a pin in this for Taffy and for Wilkins. I'll jump over to Alexander and Vivian. The show has begun. You were talking with, and I would imagine that Ernest has probably kind of ushered you out, so that you could speak so candidly as kindred spirits. Now, in this moment, Alexander and Vivian, do you have any inclinations that you would like to check out together or perhaps split up? What you thinking, Alexander?
I don't remember what floor are we on. My brain broke.
You're on the main floor, so the
Main
first
floor.
map.
Thank you.
You just
So, left
exited
one,
the where the stage is, the seating. You'd be next to the concessions.
Okay. I don't know why if Vivian's up for it, because I know Taffy and Wilkins took care of downstairs with the green room. And looking at the map, I don't know why the first thing I'm thinking of is going up to where I have to say this out loud, love it. The producer leads are, like, where their rooms are, just to check in with them if they are there. Hopefully there's no giant broccoli.
Okay.
If there's a giant broccoli seed up here, solved. Mystery solved. All done.
Okay, solved.
End of day. Someone was tired. They were wearing their suit for too long. Their eyes were red because they were sleepy. Nailed it.
It was the broccoli all along.
Oh my gosh.
So, in that case, Vivian, will you go with?
Yes, I will. And as we're walking, I will we'll just be walking, and there will be a moment where I just randomly blurt out, "Oh, I saved the lady from a robber." And then she'll gesture to the ring that you noticed was missing, like, hours ago. And just keep
Only in
keep
mid walk,
walking.
and yeah, but when you say that and you keep walking, I stop, and then I'm like, oh, okay. And then you're so far ahead that I'm like, we still need to replace that ring. It's fine, we'll talk about it later. And I just follow your lead.
Luckily, I have the costume director right next to me. And or behind me.
And then I muttered to myself, but that's also, it costs money to replace, and I need to make sure we have the means to. And then I just start walking.
Okay. So y'all head over to the producers. Their dressing room. And you arrive at the door, and perhaps before you even try the door or knock, it swings open, and you see before you a gentleman with curly, brown, dirty blonde hair. He's got bright eyes. He is standing before you with a cane, and he says, "Hello. I heard that you were gesturing towards your wristbands, investigating the haunting."
Yes, and you are trying to give like a dramatic pause, thinking I know who they are, but I clearly don't.
Dean Wilder.
But it takes so much. wonderful superficial damage from this. Oh, pleasure to meet you, Teen.
He'll extend a hand to shake.
And I'll kind of do like the very loose, like, yes, charmed,
Yeah, and he'll kiss the back of your hand. Charmed indeed.
Yes, well, if you already know why we're here, then you already know what we're going to ask you. So if you'd like to monologue, the scene is yours.
Oh, of course. So I didn't do it, but I wish I had.
Excellent monologue, although you need to put a little bit more passion into it, because it kind of seems like you were reciting a line instead of actually like, I wish I'd have done it.
I get it. I didn't do it, but I wish I had.
The delivery could have a little more emotional kick in it, but we can work on that. So did you actually do what so you wish you did do it, but you didn't do it?
I didn't do it, but I wish I had.
Yes, and then why do you wish you had? What qualms do you have that would make you want to hurt a stage manager and haunt the theater and make everyone leave?
Why would I want to hurt a stage manager? Okay.
Well, clearly you don't seem to know what we're talking about.
I have no idea.
Then why did... she turns to Alexander. Then why did he say he knew exactly what we were here for?
Oh, what exactly? And also, why did you say you didn't do it, but you wish you did? But then that's just... And then the gear is clicking in my head that just is like...
And you just see a
can't think
huge
straight.
smile on his face.
Oh, actors are so difficult.
This is why I did tech work.
You have to deal with actors all day.
Yeah, but I can at least tell them how to do what they're doing. It's like, excuse me, your costume is not correct. Please pick up the right one from the rack. Don't be rude.
He will say, oh, I'm sorry. I was just caught in an improv mood. And he'll open the door the rest of the way. And you see
Who are you?
the improvisers.
Dewey? No. Dean, how could you?
Where's horror?
We were just having some fun playing some freeze tag.
Well, this
All
All the
explains
world's a
why.
stage and it has such people in it.
This explains why your lines had nothing to do with the actual topic at hand.
Yeah, I was, we were having fun. Yes, and right, guys? They're like, yes, and
No.
I'm
No.
no.
I'm gonna actually be really bad right now to Vivian, and I'm gonna look in the door and give him like a slow clap. Be like, I would give you a hand for that, but no, that was abysmal. Looking at the Huey, Dewey, and Louie because that's forever their names now.
Want to hurt him? Make him explain the joke.
She'll after you slow clap, she's gonna kind of like gesture towards you, like that's my exact reaction too. Like what? And then I think she's gonna turn, kind of like ignore Dean standing right in front of her and go in like past him into the people in the doorway a little bit and be like, well, so have you solved it yet?
Yes,
Fantastic.
Rachel. And improv Rachel is gonna say, I think Todd solved it, right? You were the one telling me. I just, was echoing what you were saying. And then improv Todd is gonna be like, it was me. I was the one who did the thing all along.
Oh, we can say something different about actresses versus improv, but at least we're trying to solve crime. Mystery.
We were just having some fun,
Ghost
and like,
haunting.
well, we found that, and like one of them, improv Rachel is gonna pick up, like this cylinder, with foil on it, and she's gonna be like, "We found this," and then Todd is gonna be like, "We don't use physical props. Put that down now."
Here, I'll take it off your hands. Since you're
Yeah, I was
cheating.
gonna say I was gonna do that. I was gonna say
Okay.
yes and.
Perfect. No, nope. You go ahead. That's all you. That was perfect.
Oh, I love physical props. They're some of my favorites.
And I'll tell you that when you are able to examine it, both of you, after having handled a phonograph before, these cylinders are used in earlier model phonographs, as opposed to the discs that are used now. Now, with that information, I'll come back to you. Taffy, y'all have come to some conclusions, it feels. What would y'all like to do?
Go find their Alexander.
Oh, okay. Now,
I was going to see what he's doing during this show.
yeah, you would see him backstage. He's just kind of keeping an eye on things. He's coaching people as they're moving a giant horizontal box onto stage. He's like making sure that they're being careful with this with a saw, and he's just kind of, you know, directing things. And of course you see him, gold framed glasses, he's got a cast on his leg.
He seemed to be moving like someone that has an injury or just like a cast on their leg.
He does not seem to be moving like someone who has an injury.
Then I think Taffy would just walk up to him. Sir, do you need some like help? After all, I'm sure Wilkins would be really happy to help someone as injured as you are.
Oh, yeah. You know, sometimes you get caught up in the thick of things and you kind of forget.
Oh, I'm sure you forget a whole lot, don't you?
He just kind of like, he looks a little suspicious at what you just said. What do you mean by that?
What do you think I mean by that?
I don't know. But it
Why don't you
didn't
take a
sound
guess?
good. Sounds like you're accusing me of something.
Me? I'm not accusing anyone. I'm just asking what you think. We think.
I think that you're thinking of exactly what I think you're thinking.
Which would be.
That I'm a criminal of some sort.
Now, why would you be a criminal?
Would you roll a bravado and persuasion for me?
That's a 1, a 1, and a 6.
Oh, okay. He'll say, look, we all do some creative accounting here and there.
Oh, like what kind of creative? Like,
Hey, you're in the theater business, right? Sometimes we have to make ends meet.
I'm not quite sure what that means. Is this about your little thing where you're saving away money for the theater?
How did you know about that?
Oh, Mr. Alexander, I think we know a lot more than what you do. You should just go ahead and tell us it all right now before I air it out like dirty laundry.
Oh, what proof do you have?
What proof do you think I have?
Okay, I don't need to play these games. I have equipment to move, to tell people to move.
Like I said, Wilkins can help them. I mean, you can just keep up a little chat.
Have you handled magic equipment before?
I've handled many kinds of equipment some would call magical.
I'm giving you a lucky coin to... Okay. In that case, what he's going to do as you're having this back and forth, does Wilkins assist with moving various boxes?
Yes. In fact, we're backstage where I wanted to, where I was. We finally made it backstage.
Yeah.
I am, and I'm using it as an excuse to be able to look around and just sort of see, just see if there's anything else unusual here, or I'm trying to actually spot whoever it is, that kid that they say always stays near, Williams, because that was the one that they said took the picture, to see if I can see what he's doing, if he's here.
Okay. In that case, whilst you're moving things, would you mind giving me a wit and sharp?
I certainly do not mind giving you a wits and sharp. I have no successes, but I got a coin, so I'm thinking I'm going to go ahead and use that now.
Okay, sounds good.
I should have probably called it before I tossed it in the air.
Nah, just look down and see which one it is and then say.
Yeah, that's it. I'm going to call heads.
Okay.
It is unfortunately tails.
Oh, okay. Oh. So, in this case, you're moving the boxes, and unfortunately, as you're moving, this would be one of the saw in half illusions. The vertical one, and as you're moving it, it topples over, and you hear glass shattering inside. And there's like a and David Flanes runs back and says, "What's going on here?" And in this moment, I would like Taffy to do a wit and sharp roll as well.
Okay, that one's less better. We'll do it. That's a 2 and a 3.
Okay. In the chaos, with Wilkins toppling over the box, with the audience going a little crazy out there, you hear rapid footsteps. And as you turn, you see that the cast is on the ground and Harold has started to make a run for it.
I think at this point I would have to use another sync you.
Oh, okay.
I have Lucky Break.
Oh, snap.
So, for whatever reason, life just has a way of working out. I automatically succeed on a failed roll of my choice.
Great.
So I just have to describe my failure and still manage to come out on top.
Excellent.
I think Taffy's not used to really loud noises. So when this glass breaks, she kind of stumbles back a little bit and trips on one of the back curtains like the ones that if you had like a larger stage and everything would be there. And it like starts to like rip and then falls down over. I've called him their Alexander so much I have forgotten his name.
Harold.
Harold.
Excellent. Excellent. In that case, as that curtain falls onto Harold, Harold, like, he's like, "Ah," and as it drops, you see like it's completely enveloping him to the point where you just see his form trying to move underneath the curtain. Now, I'm gonna come back. I know it's getting hectic down here. I'm gonna come back to Taffy and Wilkins in a moment. Alexander and Vivian, from upstairs, like you have the cylinder. You had just discussed with the improvisers, and since you are upstairs, you would see that a door has opened, and someone is running. It seems like they're running from like the catwalk area, and they're running past this dressing room towards the stairs.
I'm not intimidating in any way, shape, or form, but if they're running right past us, I'm gonna try to stand like right in their path.
Oh, this feels like a little bravado.
We'll see.
And if this doesn't work, I have an idea.
Okay.
I'm glad you have a
I'll leave it
backup
at
because
that.
I only have 3 in bravado, so still
That's
not
cool.
a great
I
chance.
have an interesting backup that would maybe break things.
Okay. I got a 5 and a 6.
Okay.
But I'm also
great.
very interested because I do not have a plan once they stop when I'm in their path. So if you have an idea still, that would be fantastic. I just wanted to get them to not.
This may be is ridiculous, but I feel like why not go ridiculous? Along with what Vivian got for their role, I want to use my scene Q arts and crafts. I can just whip up something on the fly, like with whatever materials are nearby. So if we want to make sure they stop, I probably just realize what you're doing, and then I immediately just build like this sort of barricade to stop them completely. It's made out of like I grab every chair and possible in the room next door.
Oh my god.
Probably, like, and it's like this perfect moment that would maybe horrify you of like I'm kind of improvising on the spot, so our rival club is probably proud of me.
No, but you're using physical props. It's different.
Oh yeah, but I'm using physical props.
It's
But then
okay.
I'm also putting my hands up like, no, this is a wall. You can't pass the wall.
So this is perfect because Vivian is probably sitting there thinking that she like really intimidated this person and like, wow, like she stopped crime. But really he couldn't have passed even if he wanted to.
Excellent. So, this figure trying to run past. Vivian, you're able to position yourself in a way, and you would note that he does seem like very hesitant to try to run into you or anything. So it's like he like tries to go to the right, you're right there. Tries to go to the left, you're right there. Giving Alexander enough time to set up the actual barricade. And then he just stops, and you see that he's got like a little a little sheet of paper in his hands, and he says, what are you doing?
You seem
Why
like
are you
you're
running?
in quite a rush.
Yeah, and he'll reach into his pocket, and it's like he's not used to wearing what he's wearing right now, and so he's like trying to look at each individual pocket, like looking into his jacket pocket, looking into his pants pockets, until he finally remembers that in the jacket of his little tux, there's like a little side pocket where he takes out a little case, and he flips it open, and he puts on his little pair of gold-rimmed circle glasses, and he says, I just need to make sure my dad's okay."
Where's your dad? And who is your dad? And why are you concerned that they're not okay?
The curtain fell on him.
Oh.
His
She
name
turns
is
to Alexander.
One
It
hell.
appears we've missed multiple scenes in the show.
Yeah, that's one hell of a closing act.
His name is Harold Williams.
Here, I immediately start removing the
Harold.
barricade I made.
Thank you.
Also, really stupid side joke, but when he started rifling around in his pockets, I was wondering if he had my card.
Alas, unfortunately.
Just reaching for his glasses so he can show that his genuine concern for his father, who just got hit by a very heavy curtain.
Yeah. Where did you find that? And he points at the cylinder in your hands.
Vivian, I look at you and say, "Oh, we found this," and I immediately ignore them in the other room, the improv people, and I shut the door on them.
He's wait.
Sorry, scene exit, scene right. Do you have a means of playing this, perchance?
Bravado and persuasion, please.
Ooh. Let's hope. Okay, I got 1, 5, so 1 success.
Okay.
Like a 1,
And-
2, and 5, so just 1 success. Yeah.
Okay. This young child is gonna say, "Yeah, the old phonograph is down in the basement."
If you like, we can follow you down to make sure your father is okay.
That'd be great. Thank you. I probably
Yeah,
can't lift
those
that curtain
curtains
by
are
myself.
very heavy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So, are you following as well, Vivian?
I'm not staying
Okay.
with the improv people. The door's closed on it. It was going to take them a while to figure it out.
Great. So then, well, the three of you go down, head back into the green room, back to the backstage area, where Taffy, Wilkins, the shape that's like shifting about. There's chaos in the audience. You see David Plain mustering as much emotion as his face can muster. He says, "This isn't part of the act. What do you two want to do?"
Yes, and
Yes, and I would check who's under the curtain to make sure they're okay.
please don't do that.
Is there a reason why, or I'll just put my hands up before I even touch it?
I mean, at the very least, he has been lying about his broke leg and money. I think he said something about bare bones, and look, he just needs to ask his father for more money. But
Anyone in this theater actually love this theater?
Yes, I love this very much.
I'll say while I'm in the middle of picking up glass, because this is very untidy what's just happened, and very apologetically trying to clean everything up. He has produced his handkerchief again and is trying to clean things up. But in the midst of it, it will just sort of turn briefly to Alexander and just even from the floor he says, "Oh yes, we believe perhaps he or his assistant there might have forged this photograph." I say, and I just hand the photograph to Mr. Atwood.
And I look at it and I see that face dead center, and I maybe unexpectedly chuckle because I'm just like, oh, that's highly amusing. But then I'm like, oh wait, we have to be serious. Sorry.
I want to add something in that while Wilkins is cleaning up the glass, you would discover that there's something else that was in this box that might have messed with your recognition of how heavy it is. And you see that there's an old phonograph hidden in there.
And well, that being the case, I will look. I will look up at Mr. Plain, and it says, I believe I've discovered the source of your equipment malfunction. As it turns out, it appears it contains a phonograph. I take it this is not part of the act?
And when you do that, David Plain is just staring. But all of you would hear Harold say, "Why did you hide it there?" And little mini Harold is gonna be like, "I'm sorry. I thought it would be the best place. You know, because," and points towards David Plain. And at this moment, I would like to take our second break. Hoop, if you wouldn't mind, I'll drop a little taggy tag. But y'all, we're gonna do a little bio break, all that jazz, as our players confer a little bit, and we get to the final thrilling conclusion of Spirits at Play. Thank y'all so much for being here. Y'all have been absolutely incredible. See you in about 15. Bye. Hello. Welcome back to the Lost Caravan RPG channel. I'm Matt. I have been your director this evening for this lovely game of Flabbergasted, and our stalwart detectives have been hard at work uncovering clues in this theater. And, well, at this point, with with Harold Williams trapped underneath a curtain, just his head poking out as he looks sternfully at his son Cecil Williams, with the audience aghast, with David Plain showing all the emotion that he can muster, we hear a voice from the back. "What is the meaning of this? I heard there was a disturbance." And of course, this is Harriet Harrington, the lovely old woman who enlisted your help in uncovering the haunting, trying to figure out what's going on because, well, there's an appraiser who's supposed to see the valuation of the business of the building, who happens to be in the audience right now to see if, in fact, the business should tank because of this haunting or not. But Harriet, having informed the local constables, is followed by said constables, and she is asking, Can someone explain to me what's going on? Why is my stage manager trapped under the curtain? What is the meaning of this?"
We can explain. And then I gesture to somebody else in the party.
can?
Isn't that what we've been trying to do all night? Have we not already solved this?
Miss Harriet, I'll take the lead. I just look at all of you like, you know what? I will do it. I got it. Let's do this. We have reason to believe many, many things. I don't want to point accusatory fingers. That's a weird gesture. Weird pointing this at people about this, but we have some evidence that is a little enlightening, and we would love you to know about it. It's just a little more points at the curtain that felt a little more dramatically made an entrance than intended.
All right.
And then I look at the other three, just like, I guess I'll keep going. I found this disc from the phonograph, and it had kind of a recording on it that was a little suspiciously strange. Weird noises, sounded a little muffled. Then I also found, takes out the cylinder one. It was like, also found this, which I've not gotten to play yet, but I want to use that old phonograph there just to see what's on it. And actually, the minute Wilkins probably pulls that out, I immediately start connecting it, and like, I don't care if there's other people around, I just want to know what's on it. It's like, I need to know. My persnickety flaw is kicking in.
Mine
Great.
too, which is why I immediately offered it up.
Yeah, I know. We're both on the same wavelength. Like, yes, we need to know immediately.
We're locked in the persnickety zone.
Okay. So in that case, you would hear a very familiar sound because at least to Vivian and Alexander, because you've listened to this before, just a little bit more crisp, because this is the original recording of that production of Geese, with now much more clear a voice say boo. And after having interacted with this young man, you know that Cecil is the one who is making that sound.
I'm gonna gesture to the other three now.
think hearing Cecil's voice, I just want to say this because I just want to be over dramatic, okay? It doesn't actually, I'm going to go into my actual thing afterwards, but I'm going to say, it's curtains for you, Dad, under the curtain. I don't know, I just really wanted to say that. Anyway, and then I will say, and you know, fascinatingly enough, it seems like we do have a troublemaking child that says boo on recordings, that everyone heard in this theater right now. But we do have another child that was a little bit of a troublemaker who tried to help the theater, but luckily we have found out that any screams you may have heard, tea, water boiling. It's all a mere illusion.
David Plain chimes in and says, "Oh, that makes sense."
Thank you for your input, David Plain. And see, it makes sense. It is not only the ravings, it is a solid truth.
Harriet is gonna say, "But what makes you think that it was him?"
Who? Who is she pointing at?
Harold.
Oh, I mean, we didn't find anything out about the ghost, but he is, as he put it, getting creative with money in the theater. I'm really not sure how you get creative with money. You just ask for more of it and usually just give it given to you.
Money, please.
Money, 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 money. Money, make it rain.
Yeah, apparently he's been getting very creative with the books.
So sorry.
And I mean, it sounds like his child, the smaller Alexander, is the one causing the ghost boo. And I'm gonna be very honest. You do also have a director. That's the director, right? Wilkins, the lady in the black that didn't like being called a staff.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Yes, she has been very upset about the direction you're taking the theater, and she's been really mad, possibly to the point that she's looking away from whatever your Alexander is doing, considering he's been walking around with a fake cast.
The director is going to chime in and say, well, yeah, of course I'm upset, but how do you explain the photograph?
And Wilkins will just sort of turn to we'll turn to Taffy. If I may, Mom. I presume, and he'll actually point his hand back, because I'd handed the photograph to Alexander. Will sort of reach his hand over to see if Alexander will hand it back to him. May I, sir? Yeah.
By all means.
This photograph was shown to us a bit earlier by the cast of the Geese program, and as something that has been used to stir up some degree of unrest. Yes. But I think you'll find, if you look quite closely, and as he takes the photograph, he starts walking toward Plain. And he'll just sort of hold up the photograph next to Plain's face at the same angle. He'll say, "You may note you might recognize the face, this particular pose, in fact."
David Plain is going to look at you and say, I didn't notice that.
Ah. Well, it is just as well, because I don't believe we have any evidence regarding yourself so directly. You see, this is the same image that was used for the poster up front. An image, and this photograph, I believe, was taken, I'm afraid I must say, by young Master Williams. He says, gesturing to Cecil. We had heard that he was very much always at the side of the senior Mr. Williams at the time the photograph was taken, and taking instruction from him. It appears that, and as when things were happening, Mr. Williams' behavior, I dare say, is not up to theatrical code, as he's often gotten himself tangled, I'm afraid, in this in the curtain. And it would seem to me then that the evidence would suggest that they might unfortunately be quite tied to this whole business.
And with that, I'm going to take a little pause here, because this is the mechanic of the mystery. I will need all of you to roll 3 die 6, because in the course of this mystery, of course, this is part of the Flabbergasted Mystified expansion, you've collected clues, and you've collected a lot of them. I've been super impressed. You've collected a total of 6 clues, in which case that would be a total of, was it 18? My math is struggling right now, but each of you roll 3 die 6 and let me know how many successes each of y'all get. I have a certain total in mind for you to hit, and we'll see what happens.
Man, I hope that number's 1.
I believe in you.
1 success. I got a 6.
Okay. Lonnie, 1 success.
I got a 6. That's it.
Nate,
Got a 5.
1
2.
success. 2 successes?
Yes.
Okay. And Jim, did you say 1 success?
1 success. Yeah.
Okay. For a total of 5 successes. Now, I will reveal that my target difficulty number for this mystery was 4. So,
Yay.
as y'all point the finger at Harold Williams, at the director, Marie Jones, the two of them, Marie Jones immediately starts saying, it was him. He was the one. That's why he wanted to frame David Blaine by putting the phonograph inside the box. And then Harold says, why, how dare you? You were always saying that you thought that the standards were too low here. And that's why I followed your plans to save up money so that when this place tanked, we could buy it and run it together. And with the heat of that, the two of them look at each other, realize what they've confessed to, look over at Harriet Harrington, and Harriet says, well, looks like I hired the right people for the job. And we'll turn towards the constables and say, get 'em, boys. And the constables are able to secure Harold Williams, Marie Jones, these two co-conspirators, along with a few members of the backstage crew, excluding, of course, our good friend Ernest and our janitorial friend Digby, and they're able to throw them behind bars for fraud, for trying to destroy Mrs. Harrington's business. And with that is the conclusion of our game, Spirits at Play. Oh my gosh, y'all have been so wonderful. Thank y'all so much for playing. Thank y'all. My cast has been so incredible. Before I do my final thanks, I'm gonna jump it over to them so that they can say, well, who they are, who they've been this evening, and perhaps where you might find them. We're gonna go in the exact same order as before. We are gonna start things off with Nate with Alice on deck.
Hi everyone, my name is Nate, he, him pronouns. I played Alexander Atwood, also he, him. The name was also a fun little mashup for me of being like my two sewing inspirations in life, Alexander McQueen and costume designer Colleen Atwood, who, anything Tim Burton, you've seen her work, she's great. You can find me mostly over on Instagram, Indie Nate, INDIE Nate. Outside of that, I have a thing that'll be going live at some point at the end of the month over on High Shelf Collective, running their Omega Tales system. So basically, if you love Mass Effect, you love Cyberpunk Red, hey, I'm running a one-shot with that. It'll be fun. I'm gonna give them a very film noir experience, and I'm excited about that. And that's me. Thanks for having me, as always. Always a pleasure getting to play this. It's one of my favorite systems.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here, Nate. Let's jump over to Alice with Lonnie on deck.
Hi guys, my name is Alice. They them pronouns. Tonight I was playing Kathy St. Germain, she, her pronouns. Unfortunately, I don't have a good of a character story as Nate does. St. Germain is one of my favorite liquors, though. That didn't come up enough tonight.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. But let's see. You can find me every Thursday night right now on Enchanting Sorcery Productions, playing a Dragon Age game called The End of Love. On the 24th here on Lost Caravan, you can find me this conclusion of my 2-part Thirsty Sword lesbian game that I'm running. It is queer, it is messy, everyone should tune in. I've got some really exciting stuff coming up next month, including here on Lost Caravan that I can't talk about just yet. But if you'd like to pay attention to my social media, it's usually going to be at Alice Hart or at Hellion Hart if a adult film star has stolen that name from me yet again. Um, but that's where everything is going to pop up most recently. I'm also get to finally tease that I will be in a new podcast called Villain Prevention Squad. Our first episode's coming up sometime in the next month or two. It's a mask game. It's going to be wherever you can find your podcast. I'm going to be playing Regina George if she had super strength.
Oh, nice. Let's go.
Right now.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alice. Let's jump over to Lonnie with Jim on deck.
All right. Hi, everyone. I am Lonnie, or Looney Shaws. Tonight I was playing Vivian Baker. I got to live my Bohemian Revolution dream of just... I didn't actually have any plan of who I was going to talk to at all, but luckily I just wandered into a bunch of things, and it was absolutely fantastic. If you want to see more things that I'm in, you're not going to be able to find me on social media for streaming purposes. Just, I'm bad at it. But I will be back here next Thursday and Friday. And sadly, again, Jim, I'm so sorry. I keep going right before you, and I keep telling all the things that you're going to be in, because we happen to be in the same one-shots this month.
That's awesome.
So, we are going on the 18th, we're going to be on Don't Rest Your Head. And then on the 19th, we are doing our second episode of the game that you might have heard me mention that I was playing a character named Esther yesterday. That was for a Monster of the Week campaign in Gothic 1886. We're very excited to be able to continue on to part 2. If you didn't watch part 1, it's probably still on Twitch until next week, I bet. So feel free to watch that and catch up, and we'll see you back again on Friday. And that's all I've got.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Lonnie. Let's jump over to Jim with myself on deck.
Thank you so much. For this was so good. I am so happy. Matt, this was brilliant. Thank you so much for running this for us, and I'm so glad to get to play with everyone here again. This was an absolute delight. I have been playing. Speaking of e-names, tonight I have been playing. I've been playing Edgar Wilkins. Who I only provided his last name because much like in the Jeeves books, the aristocracy is surprised to hear that Jeeves has a first name. The one time that it comes up, I have been a fan of Wodehouse for the past decade or so, and a fan of I was a fan of the Jeeves and Wooster TV series for multiple decades.
Oh yeah.
And so this thing was right up my alley. The moment that I heard that they were doing a game, a Wodehouse inspired game, I had to get it like immediately. I found out about it at the tail end of the fundraiser for it, the crowdfunder for it. So I was just a hair too late to get it in the crowdfunder, but then I bought it immediately once it was available, and I am so glad that I had an opportunity to play. I immediately knowing that first character I ever wanted to play with this, I knew would be the staff, and I'm so glad I had the opportunity to, because this game rocked. I had so much fun with it. Who am I? What am I doing? I'm Jim Ryan. I'm a writer, streamer, and podcaster. My website is jimyesthatjim.com, where you can find various things that I do. As far as streaming goes, I have on my own stream, which is Otherdoc, OTHERDOC, on Twitch, on Sundays when we have folks available for it. So we'll see. Things are looking a little weird for this Sunday, but hopefully this Sunday. It's on Sunday afternoons. I run Alas for the Angry Void, which is a Powered by the Apocalypse game. It is a reskinning that I've done of Alas for the Awful Sea, which is about sad 19th century sailors. I have reskinned it to be spacefaring gothic sci-fi. So sadness in space instead of sadness on the sea. And so we're more than halfway through the campaign. So we're things are happening. Things are happening. Eldritch entities are involved. I cannot wait to see what happens. And then of course I will be back here on Thursday the 18th, playing Don't Rest Your Head. Which is another of one of my favorite RPGs, and I've never actually had a chance to play it before. I've run it a lot, never played it, so very much looking forward to it. And then, of course, 1 week from tonight, on Friday the 19th, I will be running part 2 of Lights Out, the Monster of the Week Gothic Century scenario that we started yesterday. And they're in 1886 New York City. They've just found out there's an elemental creature running amok, and they've just called on a very dangerous individual to try to get some more direct information about it. And I cannot wait to see how that goes. So I'm very delighted to be here. Thank you all very much for having me, and it is wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, y'all have been absolutely amazing. Oh my goodness. My name is Matt. I've been the NPCs. I've been the director. You can find me everywhere as Improv and RPG. I do a lot of beginner roleplay content. It's my jam. But on Lost Caravan, I'll keep this short because I did give a heart out and I'm over a couple of minutes. So, for Lost Caravan, tune in tomorrow for some sick Fabula Ultima action. On Tuesday, there's The Walking Dead. Wednesday for Nova. If you want the full schedule, please join the Lost Caravan Discord. It's a wonderful community, and who knows, maybe we'll get to share a table sometime. But it's been such a blast. Thank you so much to my cast. Y'all have been so much fun to play with. An absolute joy. Like,
It's so amazing running this.
I
So good.
This entire cast was a dream,
Jolly
and
good time.
you running it just amazing.
Thank you. Y'all are
Again,
y'all
the
are
puns.
incredible. Yeah. Thank you for putting up with my odd punnery, and thank you to Hoop for teching, putting up with my weird requests, for showing my weird punnery on stream. Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Hoop. We really appreciate you, and for putting all this together, letting me GM on your channel. This has been an absolute delight. And I see that we're rating the Lollygaggers, so please cue that up, Hoop, as I say, finally, thank y'all so much for being here. Let's bring this energy as we head over to the Lollygaggers. Take care, everybody, and have a great night. Bye!